Okay, I just saw Mandalorian episode 2. Spoilers for Mandalorian episode 2. Let's go. So it opens on Mando and Baby Yaddle. Yaddle, not Yoda. Baby Yaddle. They're walking through a canyon after getting out of the little, I don't really know what to call it, the fort thing that he found Baby Yaddle in. And they are walking down a canyon. You see a bunch of these little lizards with Jar Jar faces scurry along the walls, and Mando knows something's up because he keeps seeing them run the other way. And he's like, alright, something's up. And he looks up, and a bunch of these totally not Bosk looking guys jump down and start attacking him. One of them is able to slice Mando's arm with their weapon sword thing that they have. And so he finally fights off two of them, and then the third one, the last one, is running after Baby Yaddle. And Mando's like, nah. And he pulls out his little taser stick from before, lines up a shot, and shoots him. And apparently that thing can just Thanos people out of existence because it just disintegrated him. And so he gets over all that, and then they go camp out. And Mando and Baby Yaddle go camp out. And the whole time he's using this little Star Wars thing and trying to fix his cut. And Baby Yaddle climbs out of the little pod thing that it's in and raises its hand. And he's like, yo, I can fix that cut with the Force. And Mando's like, nah, you go back in the pod. And he goes back over and just says, alright, you know what, screw the cut, it'll heal. And tries to fix his chest plate because it got destroyed, it got damaged during the fight. And he gets it fixed, he looks over, and Baby Yaddle's standing right there again with his hands up trying to fix the cut with the Force. And he's like, yo, I can fix your cut. Let me do it. And Mando's like, dude, I already said get in the pod. And so he puts him in the pod. He closes it because I think that's Mando's way of putting him in a timeout. And that's the end of that scene. And then it's the next day, and they go to Mando's ship, and Mando sees it being stripped for parts by Jawas. I tried to think of a funny name for Jawas. I couldn't. And so he sees it being stripped for parts by Jawas. And apparently Mando just absolutely hates Jawas. Probably more than he hates droids, honestly. Because he just starts Thanosing them left and right, just 6 of them in a row. He could have gone down there and tried to get his parts back. He could have just stunned them. But no. And his Jawa prejudice comes back later on in this episode. So, Mando hates Jawas. And so, obviously, other Jawas freak out. They run onto their sandcrawler tank thing. Couldn't think of a name for the sandcrawler either. Run onto the sandcrawler tank thing. And they just leave. They just book it. And Mando runs after the sandcrawler, shoots a little thing on the back of it to slow it down, and he jumps onto the side and starts climbing up the side, and they're doing everything they can to get him off of there. They're throwing stuff at him. They try to ram him into the side of the canyon. None of it works. He finally gets up to the top. He goes to pull his blaster. He stands like this, does the Han Solo Boba Fett stance, and then all of the Jawas that are already up there have tasers. So they just all shoot him and paralyze him for a good minute. And he just falls off of falls off the side of the sandcrawler. And then they end up going back after he gets his movement back. They go back to the ship, and he sees if anything is still working. He goes to open up his weapons closet thing. Nothing's in there, so he slams it shut. He goes to try to see if the engines at least work, and both of them are shot. They don't work anymore. And so he goes to the deformed dude from before, the deformed tiny dude from before. And yes, I know what species he is, but I don't care. He went to the deformed tiny dude from before, and he goes, the deformed tiny dude just goes, "Man, I thought you died." And Amanda just kind of looks at him like, "Dude, you knew I wasn't gonna die. Come on now. I'm the main character." And so he sits there and they talk for a little bit, and the deformed dude is just like, "Well, why don't you just leave then?" And Mando just goes, "Well, I would, but my ship's destroyed." And then the deformed dude just apparently knew what happened somehow. I don't know how he knows all this stuff. He knew what happened. He just goes, "No. Not destroyed. Stripped. There's a difference. Jawas never destroy things. They strip things." And Mando's like, "Does it look like I care? My ship don't work. It's destroyed. That's all that matters." And the deformed dude's just like, "Oh, fine. I'll try to help you get your stuff back. But you gotta have something for trade." And Mando's like, "I shouldn't have to trade anything, because my stuff anyway, but whatever." And so they go meet up with the Jawas, and on their way in, they all the Jawas notice who's coming, and they all draw their weapons and stuff, and they draw anything they can that would help them fight off Mando. And the form dude just goes, "Wow, they really hate you." And Mando's like, "Yeah, I did kill a bunch of their friends though, so that's probably why." And then they get there, and the whole time Baby Yaddle's just kind of hanging out. He's just kind of there, just having a good time. And they get there, and the Jawas say something in Jawa speak, and the deformed dude says, "Hey, they want you to put your gun away." And Mando's like, "Yeah, but the thing is, I pray to this thing. I pray to this gun, so can't do it." And deformed guy's like, "Well, then you're not getting your ship back, are you?" And he's like, "Oh, fine, I'll do it." And puts his gun away, puts his big taser stick away. His taser Thanos stick now. Puts it away, and he gets off of the little trailer thing that was being pulled by the weird creature that the deformed guy had from the first episode. And he gets up, and he's still got his blaster in its holster. And all the Jawas still have their weapons drawn. They're all still ready. And the deformed guy looks over and just goes, "Blaster 2. And Mando just goes, "Fine," and puts his blaster on the trailer. And they go over, they sit down. Watching Mando get to the level of the Jawas is hilarious, because he's just so much taller than everyone else. And he sits down, cross-legged, and the deformed dude and the Jawa speak a little bit. And again, he goes, "If you want your ship parts back, you gotta trade them." And Mando just goes, "Well, they're mine. I'm not trading a thing." And I guess one of the Jawas says, "Hey, I'll take that steel." And Mando says, "They belong to me," in Jawa speak. And the Jawa makes fun of him because he's bad at it. And so they try to figure out a deal, and two of the other Jawas, they walk over to Baby Yaddle. They're thinking "Ooh, we could take this child, because this planet is a wasteland, and sell it into slavery. Because Star Wars, that's a thing in Star Wars." And then Mando turns around after the Jawa they're talking to is just like, "We'll take that." Mando turns around, just goes, "Get away from it." And the two Jawa are just like, "Fine, okay. And then they run. And the Jawa says, "Well, we need to trade." I assume that's what he says. Again, all he says is, and it's just really, really hard to understand sometimes. And he said something about, "I still need to trade." And Mando's like, how's this for a trade? And just fires his flamethrower at them. Again, bringing back his prejudice to Jawas. Kind of. He's also very upset because they stole his ship. But I think there's a deeper thing just under the surface. Has to be. There's no way there isn't. I'm watching you, Mando. I'm watching you. But then the Jawas say that there's an egg that they want. And you're thinking, alright, they're Jawas, so it's like a technological egg. My first thought was they wanted the pod that Baby Yaddle has been hanging out in. And then they go to this, and then Mando agrees to get the egg. And they go to this, like, cave that's, like, far off. They go to this cave, and on the way there, there's a legitimately really funny shot of Mando in the cockpit of the sandcrawler, and all the Jawas, they're all super tiny, so it's like the perfect size for him. He's just like this, sitting like this the whole time. And one of the Jawas look up at him and says the Jawa word for egg. And so basically, if that was in English, little dude in like a dark brown cloak and a shaded face just looks up at a guy dressed like a Roman soldier and just goes, egg! Which is so much funnier to me than it should be. But they get there, they get to the cave, and Mando goes into the cave, turns his flashlight on, and then they start setting up for another jump scare. Because I can already tell that's going to be a theme with this show. And they go in, he looks around, he sees a big old rib cage. Like, skeleton rib cage. Not like just no, it's like bones. He sees bones. I'm very tired. He sees bones, and he's like, oh man, something went down in here. So he keeps going, and he goes deeper. He starts hearing something, and he looks up, and he sees an eye open, because Jurassic Park was a cool movie. And he looks up, and he sees an eye open, and then all of a sudden, the camera shoots back out to Baby Yaddle, like Baby Yaddle's perspective on the cave. And you just see a bunch of red and hear a bunch of blaster fire, and then Mando just gets launched out of the cave and thrown into the mud. And I'm sure he's all upset now because his really cool looking armor's all muddy and dirty and gross. It's already got cut marks and blaster marks on it. Why does there have to be mud on it? It's just upsetting. I don't know if Mandalorian steel can rust, but there's also a lot of water in that area. It's just upsetting. His armor looks so cool. It doesn't be dirty. I want to wear his armor so I can feel cool. And I'm so tired. Anyway, he gets out, and he's just getting it handed to him by this, like, rhino-looking thing. And he's just getting thrown around, because if there's one thing we've learned from the first and second episodes of The Mandalorian, is that he is horrible at fighting creatures. Great at fighting, like, humanoid people, but absolutely trash at fighting any type of animal. He's terrible at it. And so he's getting thrown around, and thrown around, and thrown around, and thrown around. And at one point he gets trapped underneath the horn of this rhino. And he's like, oh yeah, I have a flamethrower. And just flamethrowers the side of his face long enough for the rhino to get off of him. And get out of the general area, I guess. And it did no damage to him. He just wanted the heat to stay off of his eye. So he just jumped out of the way. And Mando got out of the way of it. And I also forgot to say that the fall, when he fell out of the cave, like, screwed up his Thanos gun. I could go back and fix that mistake. I'm not gonna do that though. I'm not gonna do that. And he's getting thrown around, and at one point it looks like he's gonna die. He's gonna die. He falls to the ground, and he's like going unconscious, and he comes back, and the rhino's coming at him, almost on top of him, and then all of a sudden the rhino stops in his tracks, and floats up into the air, and Mando looks over at Baby Yaddle, and Baby Yaddle's just like season 1 Stranger Things 11, just holding him in the air. And the rhino, and then Baby Yaddle finally, that's it, clocks out, drops back into the pod, and the rhino falls back to the ground and gives Mando time to run over and stab it with a tiny little knife. Just a tiny little knife. Kills the rhino instantly. Thing was that big. Thing was that big. Kills him instantly. Okay. And so he stabs him, pulls the knife, goes like that, makes sure he's dead, pulls it out, and then just looks at the baby like, what? And then he just kind of goes back to normal, puts the knife away, I assume. It was off screen. Plot holes. So tired. Oh, I'm so tired. I need sleep. And then and then they cut to the deformed guy and all the Jawas, and the Jawas just like, yo, he's taking too long. We don't go. We're out. We're done. No, he's taking way too long. And the deformed guy's just like, no, wait, come on, give him some more time. He's almost here. I know he's almost here. Alright, fine, go. And so they're shutting the landing pad thing. They're shutting the cargo bay door. And it gets about halfway. Because it starts out like that, and it gets to about right here. And they see, and then all of a sudden the deformed guy sees Mando and Baby Yaddle coming up the hill with the egg. And the deformed guy yells at Jawas to stop, and the Jawas stop their door, and they look out, and they're like, it's the egg! And Mando comes up, hands them the egg, and then they get real excited, they get all jumpy, and they're just, it's the egg! It's the egg! It's the egg! And they just keep holding it, keep touching it, and then one of the Jawas pulls out a machete, bigger than the knife that Mando used to kill the rhino. And he pulls out a machete and cuts the top off of the egg, and they look down in it. It's a big old handful of it, and just... I always thought that Jawas' faces were bandaged, because if you look at the figures, the detailed figures of them, they are. It's like gauze or something that's wrapped around their face. But this Jawa just does that, and he eats it. Why can't Star Wars just make sense for once? That's all I want. I want to look at something in Star Wars and say, yes, I understand that. So the Mando gets his parts, and they just go, and Amanda is like, there's absolutely no way I can fix this ship without a full, basically just a full team, full group of people building this thing. And the little deformed dude is just like, well, it'll go a lot faster if you help me. That's a direct line because I really like that line. And he hands him a part, and then all of a sudden, building montage. Like, for like a minute or something like that. It's just a montage of them putting the ship back together, and then a shot of Baby Yaddle just clocked out, just asleep, just passed out, because the Force takes it out of it. And that's it. They get the ship working, and Manda looks at the deformed dude and she's like, hey, you know, I could use a person like you on my ship to help fix things. And deformed dude's just like, nah, I like it here. I don't want to have to answer to anybody. I don't have to answer to anybody. I'm good. And Mando's like, I get it. You want some of my reward though? And he's like, nah. You got all the bounty hunters to stop coming here. So, I'm good. I don't need anything else. I just wanted to stop hearing blaster fire and screams every day. The only screams I should be hearing are mine. Yeah, he didn't say any of that, but it sounded funny. And then, yeah, that's kind of it. It's kind of the end. There you get the ship working, and Mando flies off. He puts Baby Yaddle in the passenger seat. Well, and still in the pod, but in the passenger seat. And he looks over at it, and he just starts shaking the pod. Like, not like violently or anything, but just like, hey, are you awake? Hey. Like, dude, it's a 50-year-old baby. Let it sleep. Just let it sleep. It saved your life. Kind of. It helped. Just let it sleep. First you're racist towards Jawas, and now you're like shaking babies. Making it really hard to like you, Mando. Am I reading too far into this? Probably. Who cares? I'm so tired.